All right, Steve. So I decided for this webinar, we're going to be brave. We're going to start from nothing but a couple computers and go to a fully operational space station. Sorry, I got sidetracked. A fully operational Ansible system, including multiple operating systems, clients, and we're going to control them and write playbooks, and we're going to do it all within the time of this webinar. So like in 15 minutes, we're going to completely configure everything because Ansible is such an easy thing to get going in your network. There's no excuse not to use it. And I'm going to prove that right now. Okay, so here we have, this is like our server room setup. This is, Ansible is not installed. All we have set up here, we have our workstation, which could be our laptop or something. That's just going to be the one we do all our work from. And then we're going to say we have managed two different servers. We have an Ubuntu server here and a CentOS server here, just so we have different operating systems just to show you how flexible it is. But we're going to start from absolute scratch. All we have set up is we can say ping Ubuntu, and it's going to ping this Ubuntu box. So DNS is set up there, and we can say ping CentOS, and it's going to ping the CentOS machine. All right, so that's all that's set up. What we need to do is be able to SSH into those two servers. Now, I'm going to set up SSH keys so we can do that without needing to log in with a login and password. Right now, we could say SSH Ubuntu, and it's going to prompt us for our password. But I don't want to do that. I want to be able to log in without any interactive password stuff at all. So I'm going to set up an SSH key, and it's going to create them in the default place. I'm going to say empty passphrase. Somebody remind me after this demo to ask about why I don't use a passphrase and what options might be there for security. Now I'm going to copy the public key over to Ubuntu. For the password, $$WORD. All right, that's installed. I'm going to do SSH copy ID to CentOS. Same thing, $$0D. All right, so now we should be able to go SSH CentOS, and it doesn't prompt us for a login or password. It uses the same login name, Nugget1, so it didn't ask us for a password because I set up SSH keys for passwordless authentication. All right, now the next thing we need to do is these two computers have to have sudo access because we need to have Ansible be able to use sudo when we connect over there. So let's go first to Ubuntu, SSH Ubuntu. I'm going to say sudo vi sudo to set up the sudo stuff so we can make sure that works. All right, now here we are in our sudoers file. I'm going to go right to the bottom. I'm going to say Nugget1 user has all equals no password colon all. Save that. Yes. All right, so we set up sudo for that. Now we go over to CentOS. We're going to set up sudo. Now it's a little bit different here. Sudo is not set up by default, so we have to actually become root. So there, PASSWORD. All right, now I'm root, so vi sudo. Here we have a sudoers file. I'm going to do the exact same thing all the way at the bottom. There's a lot more junk in this one. All right, Nugget1 is the username. I'm going to say all equals no password colon all. All right, exit, and clear the screen. So now we should be able to go over to Ubuntu and say sudo ls. Didn't prompt us for anything ever. SSH CentOS and sudo ls just to make sure sudo is working. Boom, didn't prompt us for anything. So sudo is all set up. So there we go. We have it set up so we can SSH in remotely to each of these computers without any passwords, so no interaction required at all. And then sudo is set up on the remote computers to not have any passwords either. So now we need to actually install Ansible. None of this was actually Ansible. We're just getting set up. So I'm just going to double click on this. Now you can normally download this from the website or use your package manager. I just have it sitting here on the desktop because this computer is not actually online. Type in the password. It's going to install it. So again, there's nothing fancy here. It's just going to install it from this package that I downloaded on the desktop when this computer and this lab was online, but it doesn't have internet connection right now, so I just made a local copy. It's going to install it, install any dependencies, and all right, it's finished, so I can close this. So now we're all set. Ansible is installed. We only need to configure Ansible on this workstation computer, and all that we need to do is type sudo vi etc Ansible hosts. And in here, I'm going to just go all the way to the bottom. We just need to tell it what computers we want it to control. And these are the two computers we want. So we're going to say one line is going to say Ubuntu, and one line is going to say CentOS. That's all I want to do. I want to save that. And there, we are all set. So now Ansible knows which computers, and it can go over their SSH. It can do all the things it needs to do without any interaction. So Ansible is going to work. Now, I'm going to do a couple, let's actually just do it. Ansible, this is actually called an ad-hoc command. I'm going to say all. I want it to work on all the computers, which for us is just 2. Ansible all, -B for become root using sudo. I'm going to use the module called apt, and the arguments I'm going to give it are name equals ntp, state equals, we'll say latest. All right, and I'm going to press enter. And now what it's going to do is it's going to connect using SSH, and it's going to use sudo to become root. And it's going to try to use the apt program to install NTP. And if we scroll up here, we can see it did some stuff. On Ubuntu, we had success. Notice on CentOS, it failed. And it failed because apt is not a program on CentOS. Oh, that's kind of a bugger. That is one problem with using the ad-hoc command, is the module apt and the module yum are different. So we can press up, and we can change this. Instead of using apt, we can use yum. And same thing, the argument of name equals ntp, state equals latest. Press enter, and now it's going to fail on Ubuntu, right? Because Ubuntu doesn't have yum. But then when it goes to CentOS, sure enough, it's going to succeed. It's going to install the NTP client. And now this is kind of cool. If we do it again, it's going to try to install it again, but of course it's going to fail on Ubuntu. But here, if it doesn't have to do anything, it doesn't do anything. It just says success, and everything is green. So you can go back, and if we were to do the Ubuntu one again, oop, I missed it there, apt. So we do the apt one again, it's going to fail on CentOS because there is no apt, but it doesn't try to install it again. It just checks that it's already installed, and boom, it's all set. It's done. Now, there is an issue. Obviously, if the module name is different, that's kind of a bummer. So even though the ad hoc mode is powerful and awesome, and I use it a lot, there are some times where you really need to do an Ansible playbook so you can do some conditionals and things like that. So I'm going to, with the rest of the time we have here, write a playbook. All right, so this playbook, I'm going to explain it as I go. It's a YAML file, so we're just going to call it test.yaml. And all the YAML files start with 3 dashes. And I'm going to say hosts all. That's going to do all the hosts listed, which for us is just 2. Become root, yes. Tasks. I'll call it that. We don't even have to put a name in there, but I'm going to. So now using the app module, name equals Apache 2, state equals latest. Update cache equals yes. Now here's the issue. On Ubuntu, Apache is called Apache 2, but on CentOS, Apache is called HTTPD. So that really is an issue. It's more than just the name of the module. There's actually a problem when it comes to what the package name is on different distributions. So I want it to do this only when Ansible OS family is equal to Debian. So that way it only does it if it detects that it's a Debian system and uses app. And I'm going to say notify Ubuntu. Ooh, I should spell it right. There's a lot of things that may not be making sense, and that's okay. If you take the course, it'll all make sense because we do a lot of this stuff in depth. I just want to show you how easy it is to implement this in the time it takes to maybe have a cup of coffee. To Red Hat, so it's only going to do this when it detects that it's a Red Hat based system. And notify CentOS restart. All right, so those are my 2 tasks. Now I'm going to do handlers. because you can have a task fire something off if it makes a change, and that's what we're going to do here. I'm going to name it so that the task up here references it. I'm going to name it Ubuntu Restart. Here I'm going to use a service module to do a couple things. The service module is awesome because we can say, first of all, what the name of the package is. Apache 2. And I'm going to say the state that I want the service to be is started. So we want to make sure that it's started, and enabled equals yes, which means will it start on boot. So that's really awesome. And then name CentOS restart. This is similar, very similar, except here name equals HTTPD. The state is started. Enable equals yes. All right, so here's a playlist that I wrote, and I think it literally took me like 2 minutes, so that's not too bad at all. We're going to save this. And now it's just a matter of saying Ansible playbook test.yaml, because that's the name that I called it, and it's going to go through and do all of those things. First, it gathers facts, which is awesome. That's how a playbook can determine the family that it's running. So notice here it says skipping CentOS. That's because it said, only do the apt thing when it is a Debian-based system. Well, it's not Debian, so it skipped CentOS, and then when it did that on CentOS, it skipped Ubuntu because it's not a Red Hat family. All right, so down here, let's see what happened. Here are all of our results, so let's go through it. The task here, it installed it, so there was a change on CentOS, it installed HTTPD, there was a change on Ubuntu, it installed Apache 2, running handler, Ubuntu restart. OK means there were no changes. So that means two things. One, it means the service was already running and it was already enabled to start on boot on Ubuntu. However, on CentOS, that's not the case. It says there was a change made. So that handler, it started the service and made sure that it would restart, or on system restart, that it's going to start Apache as well. So it made some changes, and here's the recap. It says it made 2 changes in CentOS, 1 change in Ubuntu. Everything went OK, no failures. Here's the cool thing. If we run this again, it's going to gather all the facts and do absolutely nothing. There are no changes, but it does go through and check everything, which is awesome. It doesn't do any unnecessary work. So you don't have to worry about running playbooks over and over. It's fine if it does it more than one time. So here it checked, gathered facts about them, and then it skipped CentOS because, again, we told it only do it when it's a Red Hat thing. And it says OK Ubuntu, and it's green. That means there were no changes because Apache was already installed. Down here, the same thing on CentOS. It was green. No changes were made because Apache's already installed. You notice it didn't even fire off the handlers. The only time it fires off those handlers to make sure that the service is running is if it were to make a change and install something. Since it didn't make any changes, it didn't even do the handlers like it did at first. So Ansible is extremely, extremely efficient in how it handles various tasks as you're going along. And I think this might have taken me, like maybe 12, 13 minutes to do all of this. And so while you were sitting here, and the time it would have taken you to maybe have 2 cups of coffee, we were able to create a complete playlist, or a playbook. Let's look at it really quick here. So this is our playbook. We created this from scratch, and I included things like handlers and multiple tasks and all that stuff. We set up our system because all you need is SSH installed on each one of these computers, and then set up things like SSH keys and make sure sudo works, without any prompting for passwords and stuff. But those are minuscule things. Notice we didn't install anything on either one of these computers. The only place we installed something was on our workstation, which could be our laptop that we take away or a desktop workstation in our office. And all I did was install that one package, Ansible. It's awesome. It's super powerful, and you've seen how easy it is to implement in your system. And you know what? If you don't have to do playbooks, you could do like this thing we did at first with, just ad hoc commands. They are so powerful. You can do so many things with just a simple one-liner that a lot of times you don't even have to figure out and how to write these playbooks in order to get some real use out of Ansible in your system right now.